No, just introduce yourself, what you do and what you're talking about.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and switch to screen sharing then. And whoops. All right. So welcome West Wind's neighbors. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Celeste Walker, and I am the founder and chair of Orchard City Indivisible, and I am also the district director for the office of Senator Beall. He's not your representative in West Winds, but the neighboring representative. And I'm here because my dad, Vince, invited me to do a short unemployment seminar for you folks that I hope you'll find useful in navigating this tough time. I'm going to go pretty quickly and hopefully hit most of the questions that people will have. And I'll be available on Facebook or during this live stream to answer any additional questions. So I want to first start with the two main types of assistance that people are eligible for. Many people will qualify for help from the EDD. Those people will fall into two different buckets, either qualifying for unemployment insurance or pandemic unemployment assistance. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what the differences between those two things are. And then folks who may be undocumented, but residents of California do qualify for help from the community, monetary help that is being disseminated by the state of California through community organizations. So first of all, make sure that you know most of the help you can receive right now is from the Employment Development Department administered by the state of California. Their website is mostly working right now, mostly pretty easy to navigate, and you can find that at edd.ca.gov. If you go to that page and can't get on for whatever reason, it means that they're overwhelmed. Try again later. I recommend trying early in the morning or later in the evening when there's less traffic. All right, so unemployment insurance. Unemployment insurance is for most people. So if you receive a W-2 or some combination of a W-2 and a 1099 for the work that you perform, you most likely should be applying for unemployment insurance. So this captures a lot of people. If you're working full-time, part-time, if you have been impacted in your job by COVID-19, if your hours have been reduced, if you've been laid off completely, if you're unable to find work, if a job that you were about to start was put on hold because of COVID-19, you're probably eligible. Even if you are fully or partially employed, but you're still being impacted by COVID-19 at your job, you may still be eligible for unemployment insurance. Also, if you're caring for a child whose school is not in session right now, so if you have to change your day-to-day life because of some other impact of COVID-19, you're probably eligible for unemployment insurance. This could include things like caring for somebody who's sick, but particularly for those who cannot do their job because you're caring for a child who can't go to school right now because of COVID. That covers most people. This type of unemployment insurance is always available. That brings us, though, to a second bucket through the EDD, pandemic unemployment assistance. So this was created to catch the people who don't necessarily qualify for traditional unemployment insurance. So pandemic unemployment insurance is for people who own their own business, are independent contractors, are self-employed, are freelancers, or gig workers. So typically you are 1099 employees or K-1 employees. So this could be things like you're driving Uber, or you own a restaurant that had to close down. basically, if you are not somebody who receives a regular W-2, you probably fall into this category. Same as before. In order to be eligible, your job or your ability to work has to have been impacted by COVID-19, or you need to be suffering from some health issue due to COVID-19 that makes you unable to work. This program just opened yesterday. It is through the same EDD portal as regular unemployment insurance. If you already employed for unemployment or already applied for unemployment insurance and received something in the mail that said you don't qualify because they've determined that you are an independent contractor, you have to do a new application. But that just opened yesterday. People are starting to be successful in getting through, and it's through that same portal at the EDD website. And maybe Dad, you can speak to what happened when you signed in to the EDD website. You have to set up an account, and then you say you want to start a claim. And then you told me that it directs you, it asks you a series of questions to determine, or to help you determine whether you're going to apply for unemployment insurance or PUA. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So it helps you determine, and it asks you COVID specific questions, I believe too, right?
Well, it asks basically if this is if you're not working due to COVID-19. It doesn't go into very much detail about it. It just,
okay.
It asks a few questions. It's very similar to a regular unemployment application, but it asks a few specific questions about COVID-19.
Okay, and that is something that's changed. So if you tried, for a while, the EDD was suggesting, even if you're not sure if you're an independent contractor, go ahead and just try and apply for unemployment insurance. So a lot of people who tried sometime in the last 6 weeks to apply may have gotten no response at all. You may have gotten a letter in the mail saying you qualify for $0 a week. Any number of things may have happened. Regardless of all of that, the new EDD application debuted yesterday, and now is different in that it's applicable for people who fall into this pandemic unemployment assistance category. So even if you've already created an account, tried, been denied for whatever reason, things changed yesterday. We recommend that you go back on and try again. And unfortunately, it doesn't save your information. So if you applied and were denied, you still have to fill out the same stuff because they've added some questions that are COVID specific. All right, I want to cover a few questions that we've been getting. People are concerned because maybe they're not a US citizen, and it's unclear whether you can collect unemployment insurance or PUA. So in order to collect UI or PUA benefits, you do need to show that you're in satisfactory immigration status and able and authorized to work in the United States. So in order to establish that claim, you do have to be able to show that. You need to give proof that you're currently in satisfactory immigration status and authorized to work. So I do want to caution people, if you're not sure about this, the EDD does work with the Department of Homeland Security. So erring on the side of caution, I would say if you're not sure, it can be risky. I don't know if they're sharing information both directions, but do know that they contact the Department of Homeland Security. That said, if you are working on a visa, you are absolutely able to apply for unemployment and PUA. What do you need to do to apply? What information do you need? So you need that evidence of citizenship or authorization to work in the United States. So social security number, driver's license or ID card, a green card or a visa or an alien registration number, and then work history. So you do have to put in the last 18 months of employment information and some specific information from your last employer or company. Beyond that, it's mostly just general information. So you may have heard about the extra $600 a week. Regardless of whether you are somebody who qualifies for unemployment insurance or PUA, the $600 applies to you. This is a federal dollar amount that was determined in the CARES Act. The EDD has started to pay out the additional $600 a week. That's coming from the federal government, but it's being distributed through the California EDD. You don't need to do anything to start receiving this money. The EDD automatically adds it to either your unemployment insurance or your PUA for every week that you have current benefits. Now, for those of you applying now for either of the two types of assistance, the first payment of that $600 a week started on April 4th. So that means now going into the first week of May, you're going to get retroactive payments automatically issued to you, more than likely in the first payment that you get. So going all the way back to April 4th, you'll be eligible for that $600 extra a week. Anything back past that, you're eligible for your basic unemployment and the PUA benefits, not the $600, but it is retroactive. So no matter when you apply, you get those paid backwards. The $600 currently with the CARES Act that's in place ends on July 31st. Obviously, if you get a job again or you are able to go back to work, you stop receiving that benefit along with your other benefits. So specifically speaking to undocumented immigrants, Governor Newsom announced on April 15th $125 million in one-time disaster relief for undocumented Californians who are being impacted by COVID-19. So if you cannot apply for unemployment insurance or the PUA, there is some money available. Unfortunately, it's a one-time payment, not a weekly payment, and it's $500 per adult. Your household can receive a maximum of $1,000 per household. California is working on passing another bill and getting some more money because we realize this is only $1,000 as opposed to $600 a week plus your regular benefit. So this was meant to catch people who are in dire need right this moment, but hopefully will not be the last that California will be providing. So this money, unfortunately, right now, there's no portal you can go to. The money is being distributed by community-based nonprofits. I believe this is to make it safe and make people feel comfortable applying for this money. CDSS is choosing immigrant-serving community-based nonprofits right now who are going to help people apply for the assistance, and they are going to directly distribute it to eligible people. We don't know yet who those organizations are going to be, but it's going to be delivered, we're hoping, in the middle of May. So that information will be coming from the governor's office soon. Okay, so it's still kind of a complicated process. If you need general help, the EDD is a great place to go most of the time. If you need technical assistance, they have people who are able to answer the phones. Dad got through today with about a 15-minute hold time. Sometimes when they're completely overwhelmed, you'll call, it'll ring, and it'll hang up on you. So the best way to get help beyond the EDD is to contact your local assembly member, who in your case is Kansan Chu, or your local senator, who is Bob Wykowski. Their staffs are working remotely, but they are available to help you. All you need if you filed a claim and you're not hearing anything is to call and give them your full name. Typically, they also ask for your social security number. We have liaisons that we can reach out to that are able to help us maybe a little quicker than you'll be able to get a response from the EDD. And that is all I've got on my slides. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Can you guys think of any questions that people might have that I didn't cover? I know a lot of the calls that we're getting in my office have to do with the technical aspect of this. It's been very frustrating for people since this very first began to try to go to the website, get partway through the application, and get kicked out. That's not just you, that's the system being completely overwhelmed. They have ramped up the number of employees that are working on cases. They're still hoping to process things within that 21-day period. And now they are answering the phones from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in my case, I have a small business, and the way that works for me is it's a sole proprietorship. So when I do my income tax return, I file a Schedule C along with my 1040, and that's my world. It's been my world since the early 90s.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So just today, it was in the news that in my particular case, it's a service-based business that I do outdoors. Well, it looks like after May 3rd, I'll be able to go back, with mask and gloves and so on and so forth. But it looks like outdoor businesses are going to be able to go back to work after the 3rd.
Right.
But it's going to be spotty for a while, because as your clients start to get more comfortable, and as we take those further steps into getting, well, I don't know that we'll be completely normal, but moving more towards normal again, there'll be that spottiness. So I guess my question is a little vague, but if I apply for this, if in 2 weeks' time I'm back to full-on scheduling, how do I disengage from this? Or should I even apply? Should I just stay out because I can go back after the 3rd, and should I just not do it?
So
no, you should do it. You absolutely should do it.
Yes.
And,
so
yeah.
let me explain why. So I assume that your business, because we've been under the stay-at-home order, your business has already been impacted. Looking backwards,
Yes.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then you absolutely should apply.
Okay.
You literally, if you had been completely on top of things, yesterday was the very first day you would have been able to apply. So they are anticipating a lot of people needing these retroactive payments.
Okay.
You may have joined after I showed one of the slides at the beginning, but
Yes.
I'll share it in the Facebook group. Even if you are fully or partially employed right now and going forward, you should still apply, because if your business is being impacted in any way, if your employment is being impacted in any way, you still may qualify for benefits. So up in between March 13th, March 13th and May 4th, they're not requiring people to self-certify that they were unable to find work during that time. They're basically, the system was so overwhelmed that they can't go back and require everyone to self-certify. So that's that document that you have to either fill out online or on paper and send in, saying, I looked for work every day, but I couldn't find any. So, for example, if you resume next week and you have 50% of the work that you would normally have, when you're certifying going forward after that May 5th day, when they're going to require it again, you're going to be able to say, I worked a full day on Monday, was unable to find any work on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I worked a half day on Thursday and Friday. You'll be entitled to some benefits for that period of time, even if it wasn't a full day or a full week. You're still entitled to benefits.
Okay.
So I would say it's worth it.
So tomorrow I should go to the portal and just start the process.
You absolutely should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
Dad,
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Dad is muted.
I got online.
Oh, go ahead.
I got online on the 28th, Tuesday at 6:30. I was able to get right in, get myself set up, and then About an hour later, when I was doing it for my wife, it took a little bit of time. It kept kicking me off, but I got back on, and it took about a half an hour to do it. And what Celeste said is that you have to certify for 2 weeks at a time. So if you are able to go back to work, they'll ask you that. And if you say, yes, I was able to work, then they won't send you the full amount or any if you're able to work full time. But you will get, so here's what happened. I went online, I signed up yesterday. Today I got a call from EDD saying, I've been certified. I'm gonna get paid. The first 2 weeks, which were the last 2 weeks in March, I'm only gonna get the minimum. But for April, I'm going to get the minimum plus the 600. So it happened really fast, and yeah. So it's the same thing. She asked me, she said, you know, are you planning on reopening? When do you think you can reopen? I said, it depends on what the governor says and, you know, what's going on. If we can survive the time as a business, yeah, we'll reopen at some point, but probably at least not till June or July. And yesterday we were talking about probably August. Yeah. So Jim, do it. Okay. Well, get up early in the morning, or do it later tonight. Get on. They didn't ask me. They asked me what I did, what my business was. So they're going to ask you the same thing, but they're not going to ask you if your business is outside or inside. Has your business been impacted by COVID-19? That's what qualifies you.
And the very cool thing about that $600 a week from the CARES Act is even if you only qualify for $1 during the pay period, so the pay period is 2 weeks, even if you only qualify for $1 of regular unemployment through either UI or the PUA, you still get that $600. So unless you qualify for absolutely zero, you still get the $600 a week. What that means for a lot of people is that for like shift workers, some of our employees at our chocolate shop who are only maybe working 15 hours a week or a pay period, they're actually qualifying for maybe the minimum amount of unemployment insurance, but they're still getting that extra $600 a week, and they may be making more than they were making when they were employed with us.
Oh, wow.
So if the math doesn't necessarily seem like it adds up, it's because in some situations it doesn't. So I don't know how they came to that $600 amount, but even if you're working, you still may qualify for some plus the $600 a week.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll do it.
Any other general questions? I'm trying to think of what other people have asked. So we'll post this, and then if people have questions in the Facebook, I'm happy to answer them there.
No, that sounds great. Thank you very much, Celeste. We very much appreciate the opportunity to get real information, factual information out to our residents.
Absolutely. And let me know if there's another topic. I know there's a lot of confusion around for small business owners right now about the money available through the SBA. The other thing that I saw yesterday, and maybe I can address this real quickly, that you guys got something about rent reduction or assistance. I want to make sure that people are aware that San Jose, Santa Clara County, and the state of California put in very strong eviction moratoriums for renters and owners. You guys are in a kind of quasi situation, some of you I know, but you are not allowed to be penalized for paying back your late rent if you're not able to pay your rent. So I'll share some of that information on Facebook too, but just know that the city of San Jose did approve that moratorium, because I know everyone has space rent to pay. But you're well protected within the city. James, is your hand up from before, or do you have a?
Yeah. I just also one for the information that you put up on Facebook. You said you also had information on the SBA. Anything that you have is helpful.
Okay.
I went through the process for, I think it's the economic disaster.
The EID
one.
Yep.
Yeah. And I applied for that early on, and they gave all the money away to Ruth Chris Steakhouse before I ever heard from them.
Yep.
And and then supposedly there's more money that's gone to it. But when you go to the SBA website, they say they're no longer taking applications for that.
Yeah.
And that if you've already applied, it says supposedly it's first come, first serve.
Right.
But I haven't heard anything from them at all.
That's not unusual. So to give you some sort of idea of just how many businesses, so we happened to apply quite early on also for that EIDL money, and our business received half of what we were anticipating in terms of that grant money. At first they were saying $10,000 per small business. And then as they realized they were running out of money, they changed it to $1,000 per payroll employee. So for us, we wound up receiving, with no notification whatsoever, $5,000 for our 5 employees in our account, and no further contact whatsoever. We were one of only 8,000 some businesses in the whole state of California to receive any money at all. They did disburse that money based on how much business each state does. So there are other states that had literally 100 or less businesses receive any money at all. So that money went really, really fast. You are still in queue to potentially receive that money. And like I said, we didn't get a letter or an email or a call or anything. That money just showed up. But we also thought we were going to be able to apply for a loan under $25,000 through that EIDL. And apparently that's been changed. So now it's only through the PPP or a traditional SBA loan. That SBA loan, or the PPP, if you choose to apply to that, some of it is forgivable. I don't know anyone who succeeded in getting that yet. My husband applied for his business and saw that they had done a credit check, but hasn't received correspondence. They're recommending now, if you can go through a small bank that you already have a relationship with, your chances might be better than going through Wells Fargo or B of A or something like that. But yes,
it was certainly frustrated, and didn't mean to step on you. It was definitely frustrating to hear in the news about the 20 million going to a publicly traded company. Yep. That's crazy.
Well, and it's only social pressure that's causing those folks to give the money back, because it wasn't just Shake Shack and Ruth's Chris. It was dozens and dozens of, multi-million and billion-dollar companies who accepted huge millions of dollar loans that, could be spread out among the small business owners. But social pressure is really forcing a lot of those companies. I know Ruth's Chris finally caved a couple days ago, and they're giving the money back. But the process is really slow and frustrating.
It is.
So
it is. But by the time you hear from them, the whole thing will be over.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is, going through this unemployment stuff, I've been frustrated all day trying to get on. A lot of this stuff is difficult, but the fact that I applied yesterday and got approved today, it's really worth going through the motions and doing the stuff and applying for these things, because, it's a mess. It's a giant mess. There are millions of people trying to get this in California right now, and the fact that you can do it at all is pretty much amazing.
Well, and
so do it, Jim.
One thing that I would remind you when you're calling for assistance, any of these state or federal entities. And by the way, if you still haven't received your stimulus check and you need help with that, Zoe Lofgren or Anna Eshu's office can help you with that federal component. Or there's a portal for that too. Remember, when you're calling those offices or your senator's office or the EDD, none of us who work in government have ever been through anything like this. And I would say 50% of the calls that I'm answering are either from people who are very, very angry or very, very scared. And it's really emotionally exhausting to not be able to fix things immediately for people. So remember that the people you're talking to on the other end are going through some aspect of this too. And we're all doing the absolute very best we can in a situation that we've never been in either.
Those staffers are the most amazing thing. You know, I serve on the school board, and I also serve on a career tech board as well. I did for quite a long time, Metro Ed, and we would go to Sacramento many times to lobby for career tech funding.
Yeah.
And I've shared it with all of you before. The most impressive people in any office is the staff. Always, it's the staff.
It's the staff.
So, absolutely. Yes. In fact, we had way more productive meetings with staff than we did with the actual elected person.
Yeah. Well, and that seems to be even when I'm calling my own liaisons up at the Capitol at the EDD. The days that I call frustrated, it's hard to get anything accomplished. On the days that I call and commiserate with them and tell them I'm grateful that they're there, I get much better service. So, yeah, remember. Everyone is in a position right now that they're having to adjust some or all of their life. And it really makes a difference when you call if you're friendly and understanding, and it goes both directions. So,
and you work with Jen Beall, correct?
I do. I'm the district director. So yeah, so I've been still working 9 to 5 in the office.
He's very lucky to have you. You're pretty awesome.
Well, thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to stop this recording and get it uploaded, so hopefully some other people can get something out of it. And if anyone has questions, feel free to send them my way.
Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.